Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this wonderful film, Holding It In, and this talk today. My name is Meital Rozental. I'm a cultural sociologist, researcher, project manager in the field of socio-political art and documentary filmmaking. Currently living in Berlin, working for the artist and activist Ai Weiwei. And with me today are the filmmakers of Holding It In, Chen Rotem and Omer Yefman. Chen, Omer, thank you so much for joining us and sharing this beautiful, intimate, very unique film with the festival. I'll just introduce you shortly. Chen Rotem is a musician, as you can see in the film, a writer, a composer, who also teaches vocal pedagogy and writing, right? And Omer is a documentary and feature filmmaker. Among his previous works are All the Happy Mornings, which focuses on his relationship with Chen, Ben's mom and Yolande. You guys both live in Tivon, right? I got it from the film.
Yeah.
So the quiet north of Israel.
Yeah.
With your now 3 children. So
Correct.
first of all, so.
Correct. Yeah.
And just as a short background, for those who don't know, the topic of surrogacy is a very hot and controversial topic in Israel, mostly around the question who's allowed to use surrogacy and questions around the rights of the designated parents and the surrogate. In most other countries, including Germany, it's completely forbidden. In other countries yet allow it for altruistic reasons, but not for profit. So there are a lot of complexities around this topic. So maybe you guys, if you want to say a few words, or I just ask you the first question about the film.
We can just say about this specific documentary that it took us 4 years to document the process. It was a very long process. So the 1 hour film is actually like take all these 4 years and compress it to 1 hour. So there are many things that didn't got into the film, as in any film. But this process is just like the peaks of it and the dilemmas and the things that went up along the way. And that's it. I think this is Ari Davidovich. He produced the older film All Happy Morning as well. This is it actually.
Great. So let me ask you this first. In the opening scene, Chen is giving a radio interview. I also saw that you give lectures around your personal story, and of course, you decided to document the whole process and share it with us in this film. Why was it important for you to share this personal story and make it public?
Okay, right. Usually the story of surrogates, it's about the couple waiting for a child and the hope and the disappointment, and we want to show the other side, the surrogate mother side, the family and children, and to try to explain the other side that you don't know about it enough.
It's like give the story from a different perspective, from a different point of view. Usually the surrogate mother and her family is a blank spot. I mean, nobody knows about it, nobody hears about it. Usually it's about a couple that really hoping for a child, and it's very easy to connect to their dream and to their hopes. And then another thing, it's like the surrogacy it's a word, but it contains a lot of complicity, a lot of emotions, and it's a very
a film about love, relationship, and hope, and giving. more than
the surrogacy in itself. It's just the family. The surrogacy is a challenge, but it's more about relationship, familyhood, and so I think it's a universal thing.
So you see it as a kind of a continuation to your previous film about your relationship before you became a family, before you had the children?
In a way, even though it's a different, the focus is so it's different, but still the older film was it was different challenge, and still the love and relationship was in the middle of it, in the center of it. Yeah, so you can say that in a way. Yeah.
In the film, you touch upon the motives to take this very significant, life-changing decision, including a little bit of the financial aspect, but you don't document the decision-making process. You said it took you 4 years to make the film, so I assume that was also a part of the documentation. But in the film, it actually starts with reactions that you get once you make the announcement to your friends and your family. Why did you choose to start that way?
Well, we had many thoughts about if we should edit in or not. It has two reasons. The first reason is that we want to start this to start the film in a very how can I say that in a different point that it's like it might be we thought we start with the decision making, and it was a little bit boring actually because it's like two people are talking about shall we do it and shall we not do it, and the other thing which is the most important thing is that we got into this, at least I got into this process clueless. I mean, Chen wanted this for it was her fulfillment as a human being. It was a destiny that she had a vision, and for me, it's enough to agree. I mean, to go along to the journey. I admit I didn't have any clue about this process, the bureaucracy, the thing that will. I didn't know I wasn't realized to the complicity of it. I just supported Khan because she wanted it. So we didn't have a lot of, and actually during the process, I tried to figure out, and we both tried to figure out, is it a good decision? Is it a bad decision? But we're inside already. So, yeah, I mean, we didn't have a lot of yes or no. It's just like Chem wanted it. She felt it's okay, it's right for her, and I said, okay, let's do it.
it's like our children. You can't think a lot before. Just go and deal with it.
How did you? I was saying that this was your vision, and this is something you really wanted. How did you get to the idea in the first place? Is it something that you had in mind for a long time before, or?
I don't know. I have a picture in my head that I get birth and I give back children to in our situation to Yaron and Vern. And I don't know, it was to see how a family born. Um, it, it's something inside. It's hard to explain it, even in Hebrew. It's hard for me. And I don't know. It's something that I know. I knew that I need to do. Um,
I do remember the moment that it happens. I mean, who around with our 2 years old baby, something like that. And we met in Tel Aviv. We lived in Tel Aviv that time, and we met woman, Chen met a woman that she said to her, wow, this woman approached Chen and said, wow, we have two babies already. We have a 2 years old and just a newborn, the second one. And she said, wow, you're so thin after pregnancy. Wow, it's amazing. I mean, I just gave birth and I can't get back to myself. So Chen said, wow, so where is the baby? And she said, well, it was surrogacy. And that hit Chen really hard. I mean, I remember this moment, like he didn't leave her for a while. Like, okay, it's an
But it's
option.
in Tel Aviv, the regular woman, not all the story that I heard. It was okay.
It's normative.
It's normative. It could be.
So that was the moment. Yeah.
That's very interesting that you say that it's normative, because as I said before, in Germany, it's not even legal. So maybe you can tell us a little bit how it works in Israel, what you have to do. You don't have to have a specific couple in mind, right? Because in the film, you're telling Ron after you already decided and went through some of the bureaucracy, at least, right?
Well, we tell Yaron and Vered before we start the process. I mean, just you have agents in Israel, and you can do it by like meeting people like people you know, but it's very organized in Israel. It's very the health department is very strict about it. You have to go through many forms, and they check you very well if you don't do it for the money. The psychological situation in the family and the surrogacy herself and her husband and her family are okay, it's balanced, and everything is because they're it's very important that everything will be um, that the process will be very good for the surrogate mom and her family, not only for the couple. It's not. It's very humanized here. It's very. It's you don't have to. You can't decide. Okay, I want to be a surrogacy, and you can. You have to go through a long process until you get the approval to do it. Of course, for gay people, it's illegal, unfortunately, but I think it's temporary. I think there are changes here, and even gay couples could have surrogate moms in the coming future. I think it's not very far.
I hope so. um, but so you say there's a lot of support in the before being approved, so also psychological and so on. Also during the pregnancy, like for example, one of the or some of the most moving scenes, in my opinion, in the film is when you talk to your children about it and explain to them what is going to happen and about the child coming back to his real parent or to his parents after being born. And I found it wonderful the way you communicate that to them, and they seem to be on board, but you touch also upon like their moments where they're not maybe completely understanding. That's really beautiful, and I wonder if you got counseling or some kind of support also with them.
There is support, but I talked to another surrogate mother and try to understand what to say, and I know my children also, and just to say it's simple. Children have the ability to understand things simply, good than
Better than
better
adults.
than adults. And just to remind them all the time that it's not our children, it's not our baby. We need to bring back Yaron and Vered, and I'm only the oven. I don't have a touch, genetics, שום קשר גנטי עם התינוק.
Yeah, not
An
good enough.
important point that just
In what Chen is trying to say that in surrogacy in Israel, the only legal surrogacy is it's like it's called like full surrogacy, which means there is no genetic connection between the surrogate mother to the baby. This is why Chen said I'm only the oven. Like they make the cake, I'm just the oven, because so there is no real connection. I mean, genetically, it's not her child in any way, and this is what we explain to the kids as well. And several times we do it. We don't do it only once. We talked about we check from once in a while. We check. Okay, but we remember it's not our baby, and they really ask for their own brother after this journey will end. They want their own baby.
Which you gave them very shortly afterwards, right?
Sorry?
Quite shortly afterwards, you actually got pregnant with your own child.
Yeah, very shortly, actually, a few months after. Yeah, it was. And for me as well, I mean, one of two things really bothered me in this process. Well, more than that, but two things mainly. First of all, Chen's health situation, health care was really, and this is why in the film I really, I'm really short through to Yaron Vered's decision about the cesarean wish. Process and about the time that it takes, because first of all I want Chen to be healthy because she has many years to live and to make other children as well. And for us, I didn't think this process is so long, will take so much time. It took 1 year since the telephone with the Yaron that he really want, that we tell them we offer. It took 1 year until we started the physical process, which is a very long time. I didn't even know about it. I mean, it takes such a long time, and I didn't want the options to close for us to have another child. So I was like the guard dog or something for Chen.
So you were already planning on having another child of your own. You had that in mind.
Yeah, I think, yeah, we planned it, and I think this is even made it more clear that we want another child after this.
Help us
to be sure about it. Now we're not so sure, but we can't do anything else.
That's a good opening, because I say in the film that the pregnancy only got settled, I guess, in the attempt. So there were repeating attempts to get on with it, and I was wondering if during that time you had doubts, you had moments where you said, okay, if it's not working, maybe not do it.
But we are already in the journey, and we don't.
In the contract, you have you limit the time that of the
six.
Okay, there's 6 tries. So, and after that, we can say, okay, it's not working, and let's stop the process. But yeah, every disappointment is an exit point as well for me.
For you,
But not for you. That's incredible determination on your part, also. And everything is then regulated in advance with the contract and everything. So all the conditions are very clear before you start.
Yeah, everything is the contract. The lawyers are from their side and from our side are involved. It's a very serious, very
but
serious.
in the reality, you know,
things happen. Like surrogacy, I think it wasn't in the. I don't know if it was in the contract or not. I mean, it's like we didn't even think about it. There's so many things you don't consider, and then suddenly it pops up. So, but yes, everything is very organized and very strict. As I said, in Israel, it's very organized, and I'm happy that this is the situation here. I mean, I think there is nothing wrong with that. Even the opposite. It's a bless.
yes, for me, it's my הכי פמיניסטי, my most feminist act. Yeah, to do for another woman. It's a gift for me also.
It's really amazing. I was just reading, I think it was in the UK that a surrogate mother, after giving birth, did not want to give the baby back, and there was a big court trial, and eventually the court decided that she has to, but it was obviously a very heavy emotional toll for this woman. So I mean, of course, it's different for everyone, and I think you also need to be prepared going in. So all the very strict contracts and the fact that everything is regulated is probably also helpful for the state of mind that you're in by the time the baby comes, right?
Yeah, I mean, it took this attachment.
It's from the beginning. It's come with the child.
This attachment, like
it's not mine. I don't know. It's clear. It's something very, very clear inside. It's just the oven, and I just help this child to come back to Yaron and Vered.
Speaking of Yaron and Vered, how did they react to your desire to document the whole process, and not, as you said in the beginning, not focus on them as is usually the case, but to have them kind of in the background, but still is their baby, and they are part of the process. They also do appear in the film. How did they respond to that?
The exposure was not easy for them, but first of all, they knew that the focus is on us, on our story, on our side, and I think they understand it's important to show this story. We offered them to be blurry in the movie, but they decided, and we decided together, that there's nothing to hide or shame or something like that. And this is life. It's hard.
yeah, I mean, we were very afraid from their reaction when we showed them the film first time. I mean, they had the opportunity to say, they couldn't say anything about the cut itself, like we don't want this scene or this scene. They couldn't do that, but they could decide if they want to be exposed or covered. And remember that they said that, first of all, they were very proud of the film. They were really happy. They are very happy with it, and they're very proud of it. And they said, well, if you blur it, it's like something is wrong here, and there's nothing wrong here. So why should we blur everything? And they were really they're very generous, actually, because they allow us the possibility to, to go to this journey with an open heart and open mind
And open camera.
an open camera. Exactly. Even though I did took some of the scenes with them, like that you cannot see them just for the safety, but actually they really, well, they're friends, and they remain friends, even closer friends after that journey.
So, our time is unfortunately running out, but maybe just one last question. So the film, this is the first time that the film is shown outside of Israel, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's very unfortunate because of this year you're not able to be here and really interact with the audience, because I'm sure people will also have a lot of questions. But maybe you can just tell us how have been the reactions in Israel, in screenings that you've made with the Israeli audience.
Well, it's the reactions are very warm and strong. People react to that film very emotionally. We should give tissues at the opening, the door, because it's like even guys, not only women, guys, men as well are very moved by it. And we get amazing reaction to this film, and when we meet the audience after that, it's I don't know. There is a moment. Many people said that there is a moment after the film ends that they don't want the lights go on because they want to. It's embarrassed to see how wet they are, and their faces are wet, and the makeup is like flooding, and it's like they need a moment to be with themselves, because I think, and this is I think what's important in this film, that when you see it, you are not with us, you're with yourself as a human being. It's not something like gossipy or like you peeking to a other life and you say, this is their life, it's not mine, it's not connect to me. No, it's something very human that everybody can see himself instead of us. And I think
instead of your own bad.
Or instead of your own valid, of course, both sides. So it's a very. This is why I think it's a universal film, even though it's a personal film and it's very intimate. People are usually they just say thank you after that, because they got like an experience with themselves, not just saw something and they go home and forget about it. It stays.
It definitely did with me. So I'm your audience feedback for now, but I'm sure many people will watch the film during the festival, and I hope they'd be able to also share with you how moved they were, because I'm sure they will be.
Please do. I mean, I don't know how could they do that, but if you can text us, you can email us, whatever. I mean, we would love to hear some feedbacks from people if it's possible. I mean, I don't know. But still, hope people will like it and will enjoy it and will move by it. And yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Chen, Omer, thank you so much, both for sharing your story and your film and for this very great conversation. And I hope you will get the chance to show it in as many places as possible inside and outside of Israel. And of course, again, Mazel Tov for your new child. And yeah, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was an honor. It is an honor.
Thank you.